Welcome. Today, Russia says the West's refusal to recognize new territories seized from Ukraine makes peace talks harder, after President Joe Biden indicated he would be ready to meet Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin said it was open to negotiations, but not on the West's demand to pull out of Ukraine. Russia illegally annexed 4 Ukrainian regions at the end of September, without controlling any of them. 9 months into its invasion, it has lost more than half the land it seized. President Biden told reporters on Thursday night that he was ready to meet the Russian leader, if in fact there is an interest in him deciding that he's looking for a way to end the war. Standing beside him in the White House, France's Emmanuel Macron made clear the two men had agreed they would never urge the Ukrainians to make a compromise that will not be acceptable for them. The apparent flurry of diplomatic activity followed months with little sign of enthusiasm for talks. Russia's military has been forced into a retreat in southern Ukraine while launching widespread attacks on civilian infrastructure. On Friday, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz spoke to President Putin for the first time since September. During the hour-long call, Berlin said the German leader had urged his counterpart to find a diplomatic solution that involved pulling Russian troops out of Ukraine as soon as possible. The Kremlin said the German side had pushed for the call, and Mr. Putin had urged Berlin to reconsider its approaches in the context of the Ukrainian events. President Putin had drawn attention to the destructive line of Western states including Germany, and Kiev completely rejected the idea of talks, the Kremlin added. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters earlier that Mr. Putin remained open to talks aimed to ensure our interests. But Moscow was certainly not ready to accept U.S. conditions. What did President Biden say in fact? He said that negotiations are possible only after Putin leaves Ukraine. It complicated the search for a mutual basis for talks, he said, that the U.S. did not recognize new territories in Ukraine. At the end of September, President Putin declared 4 Ukrainian regions as part of Russia, but while Russian forces in eastern Ukraine occupy most of Luhansk, their invasion of Donetsk has stalled and they are on the back foot in Kherson and Zaporizhia in the south. Ahead of Friday's Scholz-Putin call, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov complained that European countries had offered nothing concrete so far in terms of mediation. Macron, by the way, has been regularly stating over the last 2 weeks that he was planning a conversation with the Russian president. He was quoted as saying, while adding that Russia had not had any signals via diplomatic channels. Mr. Lavrov named former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry as the kind of figure who had in the past been able to solve problems and engage in true dialogue. Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani said on Friday that the time had come to work for a just peace for Ukraine.